Hello. Tonight I want to talk about the Book of Joy. Many of you have heard me talk about this book as being life-changing. It's just an amazing book, and um, I used it as part of a presentation I gave with a group out in Coeur d'Alene, and I'm also going to use it in a presentation that I'm going to give to parents who've lost their children, compassionate friends. And um, I just want to talk about a little bit about the highlights of the book so that we can be grounded and understand what it's all about. The first thing I want to do, though, is to just have a little grounding exercise. The Dalai Lama calls this rejoicing in the day, or ending the day on a positive note. So I would like you to just get comfy in your chair and put your feet on the ground, lower your shoulders, relax your jaw, take a couple of deep breaths in and out, and just bring yourself here in the room. And this is really about all of these are really reflecting on the day. They're all in the back of the book. You can do them whenever you want. But this one is looking at what we did today and being thankful for it. And the Christians call it the daily examine, and the Buddhists call it making a dedication. And there are a bunch of different things that we can do, but they all help us reflect on the day. To do this at the end of the day, and it's about 7:30 p.m. here, so it's just about the end of the day. And we want to look if we've fulfilled our mission or our intention for the day, experience some gratitude or blessings, and looking towards the next day as a journey of life. And so what I'd like you to do is to pick something you did during the day today that you feel good about. Maybe you accomplished a task, you helped someone, you didn't get upset in traffic, you didn't get upset in the grocery store, you didn't lose your cool during a conflict. If you can't think of anything, just rejoice in the fact that you're doing this practice and that you're taking the time to watch this video. So just take a minute and reflect on your day and think about something you could be grateful for. And now just dedicate the merit of the day and let this be a blessing to all of you. Thank you. So this book is broken into days. So the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu got together for a week, and they are great friends, and they just had such a good time together. You can almost feel the love between the two of them when they talk to each other in the book. But the first day they talk about the nature of true joy, and the author of the book, the person who helped write the book, is Douglas Abrams, and he asks them, with all of the trauma that the two of you have gone through, being taken from your country as a small child for the Dalai Lama and never being able to go back, and the suffering that both of them have gone through, how are you not sad or morose or angry and frustrated? And they really talk about nothing beautiful comes without some suffering, and how they appreciate life so much more, and the freedom they have and the things that they get to see and do because they aren't living at home. And it just helps bring things into perspective, which is one of the pillars. But they talk a lot about some suffering, and they use the example of childbirth. For those of us that are parents know, those that are moms know exactly how painful that is, but how beautiful the birth is, and how a lot of suffering comes, but then we rejoice. And they talk a lot about what is their greatest joy, and it's really a fun day one. And then day 2 and 3, they talk about the obstacles to joy. So one big obstacle is, or a couple of them are, fear, stress, and anxiety, and why we're so nervous and why we're so stressed out about things that we can't control, using the serenity prayer, but also looking at how we can use what's happened to us in a positive way, and look at things stepping back and having perspective. Also, about stimulus and response, they talk a lot about the fact that we can't control what's happened to us, but we can control how we react to it. And as many of you know, we lost a child years ago, and I was an alcohol and drug counselor and a teacher in the same program at a technical college, and I was a parent. So we lost our child to a drunk driver. I lost my child and I lost my career. The college I worked for was very good, and I got to pivot and applied for another job as a career instructor and loved that. And I did that for many years until I retired early and became a consultant writing training and curriculum. And now I retired from that, and I'm now a career coach and a grief coach. I feel that I have a lot of experience switching careers, and I also have experience with the loss of a child. And I can't bring my son back, but I can only respond to his death. And I remember talking to someone, a friend that said, "What can we do, or what would help you um, through this grief?" And I said, just being able to talk about my son, sharing how I'm feeling, and um, hoping that people won't forget him, and what could they do? And um, I said, just be there for me. Just let me talk about it. And then someone else said, it is hard to be with someone that's angry and depressed. And it really is. And I thought, if I need friends and friends don't want to be around angry and depressed people and sad all the time, I really have to get out of that anger and let go of the anger. I can't bring them back. Angry at the person that killed my son is only like hanging on to a hot piece of coal, think I'm going to throw it at him. I'm the one that gets burned. So I worked really hard through support groups and counseling and friends and family. I had two sisters that called me every day, every single day, one in the morning, one at noon. And I looked so forward to those calls. Also, all my friends at work were amazing. But I had to learn to respond differently to the situation. And it's tough, but I have some really good tools that worked for me. Another one is frustration and anger. We can shout, we can get it out, and we can hold on to that hot piece of coal and think we're going to throw it at someone. Just doesn't work. Sadness and grief, it's hard to get out of the grief stage or the sadness stage, and giving people advice isn't the best thing. I have a whole list of things that are not really very helpful to say to a friend, and I also have things that really bring people comfort. I've learned from other parents and from myself of what to say to friends that have lost a child, and also things that aren't really very helpful. And I've put that in an ebook, so if you're interested in that, I can send that out to you. Despair. The world is in such turmoil right now, even though we're slowly getting out of this pandemic. And it's very easy to say, oh my gosh, the world's coming to an end. And yet I love to see my kids and grandkids have hope and say, it's going to be fine. Things are going to work out. And I remember my grandpa saying, I think the world's coming to an end. And as a kid, I thought, nah, things are going to be just fine. And so I think, we have to hang on to that and not go down that path. Loneliness is another obstacle to joy, and a lot of people have been very lonely this winter and this past year, being afraid of going out, not being able to go out. People that live alone, I can't imagine what it was like for them. People that are in nursing homes, even though they've worked very hard to keep them active, not being able to be with your family members when they're in the hospital. It was awful. Things are getting better, but it was very lonely. And so we still need to continue to reach out to people and see where we can help. Envy is another one that is a real obstacle to joy. It's grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, or wishing that we had that car, or wishing that we had something that we don't have that our neighbors have. Envy is a nasty one. It gets in the way of our joy for sure. And again, if we can be grateful for what we have, that's very helpful. Suffering and adversity is tough. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people are struggling financially. A lot of people are suffering with pain and illness. And it's very hard to get out of that. But hopefully, we can help people pass through their difficulties and to find hope and to find joy. And illness and fear of death is another thing that the Dalai Lama really talks about. They're both getting a little bit older, but the Dalai Lama's had some health issues, and he talks about his mortality and how it's really important to make amends and not have regrets and to seize the day, not to just totally live it up, but to also think back, is there someone that I need to make amends with? And is there something that I may need to make right before um, I'm no longer here, and live today as if it were the last day? And then the days 4 and 5, they get into the pillars of joy, which is really fun. That's where I spend most of my time now that I've read the whole book. And the 8 pillars are perspective, looking at things from many different angles, humility, being modest, humor, laughter, joking is much better than being down. Acceptance, the only place where we can really change, and change can begin when we accept the things that we can change and accept the things that we can't change. Forgiveness, forgiving ourselves and forgiving others. Gratitude, just being fortunate to be alive. Compassion, something that we want to have more of. And as my sister says, we also need to be compassionate with ourselves. When we're really down and out, we can't get out of that. We need to be there for just a bit and to forgive ourselves and to be compassionate with ourselves. We cannot be compassionate with others if we're not first compassionate with ourselves. I think that's really profound. And the last one is generosity. We're filled with joy when we can give to others. And the suffering is less when we help others who are suffering more or as much as we are. And so they talk about reframing the situation in a positive way. That's what coaching is all about, looking at your present state and your desired state and looking at how can we reframe things. You are what you think. And so if I think I'm never going to find another job, I'm right, because I won't even look. I won't learn new things. I won't update my resume because I think, what the heck? Or I think, the perfect job is out there. I just need to find it. I only need one. It's like selling your house. You only need one buyer. And to try and reframe that helps us be more open to the universe. Again, experience gratitude. Another great thing that I used to do and quit for a while, and now I started up again after I read the book, is to write 3 things down every night that I'm grateful for. My health, my finances, the fact that I can still use my brain and give back to others. It can be the same or it can be a different one. Today I was just thankful for the sunshine. I walked around and all my flowers are blooming and it's spring. To be kind and generous, again, helps with our own suffering. And pain causes us to be extremely self-focused. The more we heal our own pain, the more we can turn to the pain of others. And by helping others is one way to deal with our own pain. So we're going to get into the 8 Pillars of Joy a lot more in detail, but I just wanted to do the overview of the book. And I do have a book discussion group. I'm going to put this in there, but please comment. Let me know how you like the book, what you're enjoying about it, what you believe, what you don't believe, whatever. It's just such a great book. I hope that you read it, and I hope that we can talk about it at some point. Have a good night.